Does your bike do this? Well, mine does. So we're gonna rebuild the starter and hopefully it'll do this. And that's the part where I cut to it running, if it works. And if not, then I don't know. So my new bike doesn't start, it just goes click, as you saw just now. We've already replaced the starter solenoid and we have broken a cable down by the starter that is the ground cable. But what we're gonna do today is pull the starter out, rebuild it, hopefully put this thing back together and it'll fire up, because if not, my wife's gonna be pissed. So we're gonna start by removing the negative side of the battery. Let's get our wires out of the way here. The reason we're removing the negative, and we don't necessarily care about the ground, is because we're touching cables that go to the starter, that go to the negative. They are connected, so we want that one out of the way. So that way, we're not shocking ourselves. Easiest way I've come up with for nuts and bolts and everything in between is to take it and put it back in the hole it goes in. So we're gonna put that screw back in the hole, and then we're gonna start moving on. I don't know what I was planning to say there. All right, so in theory here, we should be able to take out these two bolts, and then there's one cable on top and one cable underneath. The cable underneath is this guy, runs the starter solenoid, relay, whatever you want to call it, runs into the engine. It should be under this side there. And then if we walk around, we've got this one cable connection here that should be a ground, and it goes underneath the starter. We are going to have to fix that one because I broke it messing with it earlier, but let's see if we can take it out. Through my research, supposedly if you're brave enough, you can get this out without taking the carburetors off. I don't want to take the carburetors off because that's going to be a pain. And I hear on these ones that the airbox is particular with how it's mounted. If you don't get the airbox mounted right, it won't run right. And I want to try and deal with that because supposedly this bike runs, it just won't start. So I'm trying to keep it that way. Let's see what happens. A little bit and pre-loosen these bolts, but you get the point of the bolts being loosened. This is a 10 mil on here. We're pretty much just gonna try and get them finger loose and see if we can't get them going. Ugh. Mostly because of how tight the fit is in here. I have to go from the other side and block the view here. I did manage to find my little 10. That's gonna make this whole process a little bit easier, hopefully. Nope, already very loose. One bolt out, looks like no washer on it. Might have been a little bit of Loctite. I'm gonna get this other one from the view. It is blocked. Let's see if I can't. Oh yeah. Get this out of here. As soon as we get the starter out of the bike, we can move inside to rebuild it, which, judging by the weather, looks like it might be a good idea for just a while. Here, I'll get a shot of the sky. It's looking like rain, and that's not what we want. Yeah, gotta get that bolt out at just the right area. Set those off to the side for now. Something on that side is hanging us up. Okay, so through a series of pry bars, which involved me prying up from the other side, pulling up on it while pushing this out, and then ended up getting it stuck on a bag. And then ended up getting it stuck kind of in this orientation, if you can understand that. The gear on it was towards the front of the engine, the mounting bolts were towards the back, and I ended up getting it stuck like that. But what I did was I put the pry bar underneath this, up in the hole, underneath the body of the starter, up in the hole. Hopefully I can get a video of it when I put it back in, but for now we got to get that nut off. That is the cable that runs from the starter solenoid. And once we get that done, we can go ahead and head inside to start rebuilding this. I'm assuming it's going to be a 10 as well. Yeah. Did in fact not need to take the carbs out. Hopefully I don't need to take the carbs out to get it back in. I think going back in it'll probably be an easier bit, but here's our starter and it does look gross. So hopefully this rebuild's gonna solve some stuff for us. Let's go get her done. Okay, so I did quickly hit it with the wire brush just to try and give myself a little bit of a cleaner surface, but we're gonna go ahead and start taking it apart. Oh, I'm showing you guys what we got. I think the forwarding number on this was SMU 901 or 910. I'll look it up and I'll plug it in. But we got 414 54,000. We did end up going with the Amazon special on it because nobody could get it for weeks. And Amazon Prime had it in 2-day shipping. Fun fact, I've never rebuilt a starter before. So we're gonna see how this goes. But the starter rebuild kit was like 17 bucks versus a starter that I could find that may or may not have actually fit this vehicle was like 300 bucks, and it was still gonna take weeks to get here. Kids causing mayhem in the background. Looks like there's some square retainers on it, so we'll have to make sure that those go back properly. Oh, and this one's a little rubber seal came out with it, so we'll get that rubber seal just in case, especially so we can know how it goes back together. It should just pop off. Nice and dirty in there. Oh. Okay, so that's gonna go in there. Some decent magnets holding this in. There we go. And arson torn up. This piece will come off. It's connected via cable. Almost. Borderline looks like we're missing parts, but look at all the crud that's coming out of there. I'm gonna assume that washer goes in the same place. Yeah, there's not much going on in here. And judging by the rebuild kit that we got, I did find to be the right one. We are missing parts. So I'm doing my research. It seems I'm not the only one who has had this problem. There are other people who have had this problem, and it doesn't line up for them as well. So what are we gonna do is the question, is reuse this one and just clean up everything, or throw this one in.
Lift up my soul, lift up my heart, I trust in you, oh Lord.
I'm not sure when the camera turned off. We got it back together. Just putting the finishing touches on getting it back together. Everything nice and tight. Did what I could with what I had. I'm hoping it'll be good. Give it another couple just whacks to loosen everything up, even though we cleaned everything. But hopefully nothing can be frozen in there now. So hopefully whatever issue we're having, we can visibly see now that we rebuilt this. So let's go take a look back outside and see what's going on with the cables underneath there, and maybe that's our issue, because this is not the right kit, as you saw. It's unfortunate because that was like the only one I could find, but we used what we could to reseal it properly and get everything sealed up better. So we'll take a look at the wires and we'll give it a test drive. Well, test start. Alright, we're back out at the bike. Can't really see any of the cabling going on in there. Oh, there you go. But it all looks pretty good. Not too bad. It is a little dirty in here, like I suspected. So we're gonna clean off tops of everything. I did feel oil down in there, so we're just gonna give this a little finger swoop. Teeth feel fine. Yeah, the teeth feel all right. They're spinning well. Maybe they're not supposed to be spinning. I don't know. We're just gonna clean up all the connection points there. And then we are gonna take our ground, or our cable here. Ah, our cable has a opening in it. Wonder if we can move this boot down. Get that more protected. Yeah. Let's get that a little bit more protected. We're gonna hit this with the wire brush as well. Because we want the best connections we can get, and this is kind of hard to get to. Another thing I think I'm going to try and do is have it just connected up. It's like all the cables go through themselves. The only thing that's really grounding that is itself. So I think I'm going to connect it up and see if the starter will turn on its own. Everything hooked back up. Our starter's plugged in. We're going to see if it wants to even move this time. Just should have done before, but that's okay. Okay. Getting it sparking. I'm wondering if it's because it's not grounded or anything. Let's see. Nope. Yep, let's get it thrown back in and see if that will get us grounded out. If not, I mean, we're back in the same boat we were, so really not terrible loss, just knowing that it didn't work. So let's see what's up. I did actually forget to plug back in that cable that I broke previously and adjusted for testing purposes, so let's give it a go again here. Oh, still the short one. We've got our starter back in. I found out that that cable is for the oil pressure light, so not too concerned there. We're on, we're in neutral. Let's go. It's trying better now. Now we're getting a buzzing noise from the solenoid. Put the mic right up to it so you guys can hear it. I'm almost wondering if that needs to be grounded out. So I know that's an issue, so let's put that back in place. See what's going on. I wonder if this fuse is blown. We're back on. That starter cinched down, solenoid cinched down. Everything should be grounded decent. Clutch in. Now we're getting new noise. Keep starter solenoid. So the last video I took came out with no sound, but as you can see, the bike is still torn apart. Here's what happened. Nothing was working on it. What I ended up doing was getting a new battery for it. So we do have new battery, super start, 310 cold cranking amps, charged up, it's ready to go. Threw that in. Thought maybe that would help. Maybe my battery just didn't have enough life in it. Maybe my jumper pack wasn't doing enough. No, just don't work. I ended up having the negative cable on the battery itself start smoking when I was trying to get it started. So I might have a ground issue, but the starter's still bound up. I did test with the battery, with a different battery, with the jumper pack, all kinds of things. If the starter would actually kick over and engage by itself, just out of the bike, it won't. So I have a new starter on order. Well, new to me starter. Claims it works. It's on eBay. It's the only one I could find for 80 bucks said and done that's actually gonna fit. If not, I'm gonna have to see what happens and buy a $300 starter, which I don't want to do because I don't got 300 bucks laying around and I only paid 600 bucks for the bike. So that's kind of whack. On to next time.